If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
On Horse Chats today, we've got another equitana educator. It's Tracy Whiter. Tracy's going to talk to us about Hemp, which is hemp for pets, particularly for horses. So Tracy's been heavily involved in this product and the business development. Hemp produces and sells hemp-based products for animals, including horse feed. They do a veterinary-only CBD products. But before I talk too much to Tracy, before I introduce you, I'd just like to remind you about the values at International Horse College. So the podcast is brought to you by International Horse College, and horse welfare and safety are the utmost important to us at International Horse College, which is why we've included them in our value statement. Within our wide variety of horse courses, we only utilise methods that promote safe and humane methods of interaction between horses and humans, and only support safe methods of educating riders, handlers and trainers about horse welfare. Have a look now at the online horse courses at internationalhorsecollege.com, and you'll be able to find the contact details on the website. internationalhorsecollege.com, registered training organisation 31352. Now, Tracy, are you there? Welcome to Horse Chats.
Thank you very much, Glenys, and thanks for inviting me.
Tracy, we're going to talk today about the benefits of hemp-based feeds and supplements for horses, but something that I'd also like to talk about, because I love to bust myths, the myths and lack of knowledge about hemp. So just check first, because, is this what we're doing, selling hemp legal?
Absolutely.
Just checking.
It's a good thing, because it's absolutely one of the biggest issues that we overcome, because hemp is actually part of the cannabis species of plants, but anything that people find labelled as hemp must be, by definition, a very, very low to undetectable amount of THC. So all of these hemp plants are, and this is from anybody who is licensed to do this, they're audited, checked. The plants are grown as a strain with no psychoactive component, only the benefit of the cannabinoids in the flower and leaf, other than the psychoactive one, THC, or the seeds, which just provide a great nutritional option.
Yep, that's brilliant. Okay, so now we can safely go on without the drug squad knocking on our door.
Correct.
I do want to know about the myths and lack of knowledge, but first of all, tell me the types of products and, just a little bit about each product, the benefits.
Well, we do a range. We started very much in the dog and cat space, and the owners of Hemp Pet are amazing. They have this wonderful story about a sad, their family favourite Staffy that had a really poor cancer prognosis, only going to last for a couple of months, using CBD actually from a person, which is not advised, but the dog was in dire need. And that dog ended up with an 18 months extra quality of life. And at no point are we saying that solved any of that, but absolutely extended quality of life. And it really drove them to create this brand. And that's what started, because they were looking for these natural alternatives for pets that didn't seem to be quite available. And also, to show how effective, I guess, that was, is we have a consultant vet, Dr. Baron Johnson, up in Queensland. He was the vet of Bella, Arthur and Sandra's dog, and he watched this progression. And so he then also became quite passionate about the benefits, in particular the quality and the longer life that Bella was given. So Sandra and Arthur put their heart and money behind it and started Hemp Pet. So predominantly dogs. We have hemp seed oil products that have omega boosts, and we have some treats, we have some fiber products. But just very recently, beginning of 2023, we released our horse range. In that, we have 2 meal toppers. The first one is called Power Feed, and that is predominantly a weight gain, exercise recovery type meal topper. Hemp is a marvelous protein and amino acid profile. And when you're feeding your horses a quality protein, the amount you need to feed them for the result is much less. But of course, just doing that on their own isn't a magic bullet. And again, at Hemp Pet, we want to bust the myth that just throwing hemp into your horse's feed is going to solve a whole lot of problems. So these two are proprietary blends. So Power Feed for that one, very good for muscle. Gut Restore, obviously fabulous for a prebiotic type, supporting gut microbiota. And then we did some hemp cookies. Sort of thought, who doesn't want to give their horse a hemp cookie and see what happens? So we really aligned these, and the performance cookies are again high in protein, low in sugar, but so portable, used in conjunction with the meal toppers. We're able to take on the advice of even human exercise physiologists about getting protein into the horse as soon as possible after exercise. Gives them the best chance of recovery and reducing fatigue. And they're so palatable. Horses love hemp. Surprisingly, they'll take the oil out of your hand once they get used to it. So we're very proud because this one too is a finalist in the Innovation Award at Equine. The other market I saw was the other cookie we do called Hemp Bites. And Hemp Bites was just me thinking of the ponies and the horses like mine who are fatties, metabolic issues. We see increasing in all of these metabolic insulin laminitic episodes. So this is a treat that has little to no sugar and no grain. So it's very natural, very healthy. Of course, I always tell everybody if they're in the middle of an episode, you don't give them anything unless you consult somebody else. Our other products, we have just the straight hemp oil to be able to add. And also we have a pretty cool range of with shampoo and conditioner. The shampoo and conditioner, again, very natural. If you leave conditioner on, it's not really going to cause your horse any drama. Frequent washing, it's not going to strip skin oils. So our entire focus is natural-only products, but we want natural products that are actually going to do the job.
Tracy, I was so worried about whether or not we were doing something legal. I forgot to ask you about your favourite quote, and I think you've got 2 that you want to talk about and how they affect you, your life, what you're doing. So I'm sorry, I'm doing this a bit out of order, but if you're happy to tell me.
Oh, good.
Tell me a little bit about the first one. I think it's a Tom Roberts quote that you're going to say.
Yes, I started my journey with horses quite late in life, and I'm sure that all the listeners will agree that you can listen to 7 people and get 10 different bits of advice, and it was all very confusing for me. Going into it later, it meant my confidence around them wasn't as high as people who have been riding for a long time. And I had to learn everything from scratch. And again, as most people have done, I made an awful lot of mistakes. As I was trying, I guess, to get a single point of truth about, instead of getting opinions and advice, but getting facts so that then I could understand that and make my own decision, that's when I started studying equine science and reading through that and how the horses learn and how their brain works, how their senses work, which is so very important. I realised the impact that it was I was having on my horse. And I normally explain that to people in the way of, say, I have some dogs as well, and they say, can't you have dogs or horses? And I say, dogs are my comfort, they're my companion, they're the love that they get. It's very unconditional. Horses, they don't care whether you're with them. It's a treat for you to be allowed in their space. And if you take the wrong mood, energy with them, either around or on their back, they will tell you. And I guess I learned that every single one of my horses has taught me something different, and they're an enormous mirror. So when I first started riding and then trying to ride a younger horse and all the rest, of course, I got pointed to Tom Roberts' books. And that simple quote just enabled me to make horse corrections, whether it's on the ground or in the saddle, with the correct frame of mind. So that's, of course, this will profit you and this will profit you not. So instead of saying, no, this is wrong, we need a punishment, we're going to say, no, that's not going to give you any benefit. So let's try something that will give benefit. And I use it, I guess, if I'm teaching young people around horses as well, that with that mindset, whatever they're trying, it might be wrong, but they're trying. So you just don't let them profit from it. And I guess that just had such a huge impact in the empathy of my dealing with horses.
Yep. And really good that you've got that and you've developed that and you've understood that. You know, you can say coming into riding and horses at a later age, but if you come in with an open mind, then you're going to keep learning anyway.
That's right.
What about the next one from Tom Durant's?
This sort of follows the same, but I think it just encapsulated my learning. And when I often help younger children get into horses, I don't really help them ride. That's not my area of strength, and somebody else needs to do that, but I can certainly teach them about their horse and handling. And it's so easy to try to get fast and skip. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's starting your horse. It doesn't matter if it's starting getting riding. It doesn't matter if you're leading it down a garden path, doing some groundwork, liberty work. There's always foundations. And I'm sure all of us have tried at times to skip the foundations and then paid the consequence. And I used to watch, I guess, the young teenagers over and over again sort of go, oh, yeah, but I've done that, it's fine, zoom. And I watched them fail again. So the Tom Dorrance quote of take the time it takes to take less time really encapsulated for me how important it is for foundations of whatever you're doing. It's not just riding.
Yep. Now, I know that you've got a popular YouTube channel.
Kazadans Equestrian, yes. Really, sorry, apologies to everybody. Difficult to pronounce. It's actually the name of our property. Company was started. It just happened, and here it is. But I kind of like it, being unusual. I really started that from after doing the equine science degree and realising there was a lack of information that was just giving people facts and truth and allowing them to make their own mind up, so that they're not getting pushed by anybody down a particular road. There are many different ways that you can address many different problems. And I guess I have trust in people that if they learn the truth about the animal, then they can make the right decision. And so that's why I started the channel. So it starts so simply from the top 10 things I wish I'd known. How does your horse's digestive system work? We hear a lot of really focused information about gut and gut problems. It's so important that people understand the horse's digestive system and how important saliva and digestion is and chewing. And I think if they're willing to take that on, it doesn't matter who speaks to them, they'll make the better decision for their own horse. So that's, I guess, my passion was trying to provide that point of truth that I was looking for. And that's why I started that channel.
Yep. If you go and you research about a lot of stuff, because you're going to present it, and you'd know this as a teacher, if you know you're going to present it, you make sure you do the research so that you don't just know it a little bit. You've got to know it in depth.
Absolutely. And I guess I've found that one of my skill sets is taking complicated information, particularly science, and hopefully being able to convey it in a way that other people understand. So I actually enjoy it. I absolutely need to go back, start updating. Because of my work, I keep very up to date on latest research and things anyway. So I do need to update them and make them more modern and things. But yeah, that's exactly right. It's actually a giving of information rather than a telling what to do channel.
So we want to talk to you about the Equitana, what you're going to speak about at Equitana. But before that, you're talking about some products. What I want to know is if a horse undergoes a drug test, which they do in some competitions, is it going to come up positive or negative, or tell us a little bit about that?
That is a tricky question and a slightly grey area. Actually, Australia's been good. We're conducting studies and have finished a study now that, not me personally, actually some other very well-renowned nutritionists and scientists, conducted a study feeding horses the hemp seed and product with hemp seed in it and then testing. They did test clear and they never found anything. In saying that, hemp is a natural product and constituents change. CBD is without doubt a controlled substance under FEI regulations. So it does make it tricky, and depending on, I guess, how it metabolizes in a body and how it clears, although it gives a lot of benefits, if you want to be clear of that, you may need to also work out some clearing times. The CBD products absolutely should not be used in competition. Really, really great for training and behaviour, and I could talk about that a bit later. But we haven't really had a lot of pushback with the hemp seed because it is unlikely, but as a company, we don't want to say no, because all the way through the training is often when the horse's activity peaks. And going down and even going down from a training regime, it is better for the horse to reach its peak and then tailor the exercise down anyway, so the horse has more energy to compete. And that's a known exercise physiology thing of the horse and training technique. So we would suggest at that point, you maybe don't need the extra boost as well, and you might want to switch that out at that time.
Okay. It's just good to know because you need to know these things, especially if your aim is to compete, at what stage you'd have to stop you.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons I guess I love working with Hemp Pet is because there are a lot of hemp companies. I'm not even saying in the horse world, there are some really good companies around, but there are a lot that are doing a bit of a disservice by saying, no, 100% that will be fine. Yes, it's a magic bullet to fix everything. And I will only work for a company that doesn't do that. And allows me to say, on its own it might help, but here's the other options or whatever.
Yep. So your first presentation is on Thursday.
Yes.
And it's hemp, hype and horses. So you want to tell us a bit about that, a bit of an overview?
Sure. Thursday morning, so I want everybody who's listening to rush right into the gate and walk into the education classroom. Anyway, I did present this one 2 years ago, and I think it was maybe a little bit ahead of when people were actively trying to use hemp. So what I go through in that presentation is what is hemp. I will discuss then about the difference between the seed, the flower, the fibre, the oil, and what that means and what it contains, because all hemp isn't the same. And I feel like everyone needs to understand how to read the ingredients on any hemp products. So I start with that. I talk about the composition of what parts are good for and what is not. And I also address some of the myths that hemp companies that maybe don't understand horses very well can make the big claim that it has the perfect omega balance. It does not. And a lot of the knowledgeable ones don't, but I go through that in a lot more detail so that I can hopefully help them understand that there's quite often a really great place for hemp, but there's also a lot of things that if you're not aware of, you could make a mistake going down that route. So that's what I hope to address in that one.
All right, well, that sounds good, but the next one is on Saturday. How does, or even doesn't, hemp fit into my horse's diet?
Correct. And so in that one, I'd like to go into a little bit more detail. The first one is probably where I'll talk a little bit more about CBD oil for horses. Very underdone, and it's an amazing topic. But this one, because we're talking about diet, it's predominantly the nutritional value of hemp, because a lot of people also think that adding hemp seed or hemp husk to their horse's diet is going to calm their horse down. This is quite unlikely to be the case. And again, with the right knowledge, they can make a better decision. It's great for stomach and fibre. It is an amazing protein source. It's a wonderful fatty acid source, as long as you put it into context with what it may need in a balanced diet. Is your diet already balanced? You may not need to change a thing. And people just get swayed too much, I believe, of thinking they need to add everything to solve a problem. Grabbing a supplement, again, thinking it's going to be a magic bullet rather than basics up when you're feeding your horse. You know, the first thing you need to look at is actually quality water. Are you as concerned about that? Forage, quality forage, how long the horses graze for. Does hemp fit into that for you or not in some way for stomach? And then obviously the protein, energy, and then we go down to micro amounts. And I find that a lot of people get really stuck on these micro amounts that we really don't know what the horse is getting. So what I'd like to do is be able to put into context where the value is. And even if the value is adding it, you may need to change or tweak something else to make it balance. Or maybe your horse just doesn't need that right now because you're going to overdo it because you've already balanced some other things.
Yep. Tracy, I think this is a big subject, and, you're saying, well, you tell me there's been a lot of progression in the last couple of years.
Absolutely. We're seeing science studies just rolling out 22, 23 now because they were started, they're now getting published, and so a lot of people are able to see the data better.
Yep. Now, the hemp, is that grown in Australia, out of Australia, or the cannabis?
Yes, in Australia. Our product is 100% Australian owned, grown and ingredient sourced, and that goes through our horse and dog and cat product range. So the company owners are both Australian. They reside in the Gold Coast. The hemp is grown in Australia. We manage the process from beginning to end. The only product we source outside of Australia is for our dogs at the moment, currently, where we source a fish oil and some fish that is organic and great quality from New Zealand. Other than that, everything else is very Australian.
Okay. Now, Tracy, you've introduced quite a few different things that we haven't talked about on this podcast before, but is there anything else I should have asked you but haven't?
Not really, because I've always got lots to say, Glenys, so apologies for that. It would be great to actually have a little discussion around CBD. I'm not sure what people and vets are ready for in that. I have done tests on my horses, and once again, it is totally controlled from competition. But what I do find with my horses is that they're very sensitive to CBD. So surprisingly, they don't need that much more than your dog. It's not so much a body weight correlation, but what I love about the effect is it seems to reduce their anxiety. So CBD works on the basis of homeostasis, so it likes to keep, attack any physical trauma and bring things, or physiological trauma, bring things back down into the normal level for the horse. So I guess I tried it where, yet another lesson that you've paid $120, $130 for, and you take your horse out and spend the first 30 minutes. I'm not the best rider. I will never advise people with riding. And I spend most of that money with an instructor telling me how to calm him down again. And all I wanted was I need to ride him out, but I want as close I can to the at-home horse, which is actually why I tried CBD on him. I thought, well, I've got to give it a whirl. And that's why I can guarantee you there's no THC response, because I would never get on a horse with that. And I just found him just his own personality much more relaxed, which to me gave such a great training response, because they get to experience it all without the anxiety, and to their memory goes, oh, not so bad. And also as pain relief and everything, we're really hoping to be able to bring a pellet in that for vets. So there's so many uses and so many options. Actually, I just want people to start asking their vet, so the vets start asking us about it.
Yep. No, sounds great, Tracy. I think that if people would like to know more, make sure you see Tracy at Equitana. And if someone's not going to Equitana, Tracy, tell me about the contact. Do you prefer text or by phone or email, social?
Email's probably the easiest. As you probably experienced early, there's days that I get extremely busy, and they're probably the one thing that doesn't go through the cracks at all. So more than happy for people or anyone to send me questions on my Tracy at Hemp email. You'll provide?
Yes, we'll put up a page for you for this episode on Horse Chats.
Excellent.
And people can just go there, and it's Tracy, so without the E, it's Tracy, and Whiter, Whiter. So go there, and probably if you do a search for hemp, you'll probably find Tracy's chat comes up anyway. So just go there, and at the bottom of this episode, there'll be all the details, contact details.
Great. Thank you very much.
Great talking to you. Very interesting and innovative, like a product that wasn't around a few years ago, but it's something that, well, let's go now and let's see how this progresses over the next few years as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, talk to you soon then. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later. Thank you, Glenys.
If you've enjoyed this chat, then please comment, rate and subscribe. If you'd like any changes or recommendations for guests, then please contact us through horsechats.com. And while you're online, have a look at the government-accredited courses at internationalhorsecollege.com. Registered Training Organisation 31352.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.